On Sunday, I was touched by a verse, and I want to share it with everyone. It is, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, the Sermon on the Mount. But we need to understand one important thing. This is not just a sermon. It is the beginning of Jesus Christ's ministry. After the baptism in chapter 3, after the temptation in the wilderness, the Messiah begins his ministry as king. And his kingdom is not land or borders. His kingdom is people. Every kingdom attracts people in its own way. Some promise success and wealth, others freedom or traditions. Jesus promises something entirely different. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And there is a big question. What does that mean? There is an interesting story in the Old Testament. It's in 2 Kings, the story of a widow who comes to Elisha in great need. And Elisha says to her, "Bring as many empty vessels as you can." And the oil keeps flowing until all the vessels are filled. When there's no more empty space left, the oil stops flowing. This image reveals something very important to us. First of all, we see that the Spirit has the nature of a flow. It flows where there's space, and it fills where there's emptiness. That is why the poverty of our spirit is so important. It creates space for God, for His flow. Secondly, the kingdom of God belongs to those who remain hungry, needy, and constantly open. But our vessel is always limited, and that is the problem. For example, the church of Laodicea says, "I am rich and have need of nothing." And so the flow stops. So what should we do? What can be done? In my opinion, we simply need to realize that spiritual fullness is not what we have accumulated, but what we are ready to share and give away, working like, in a sense, a pump. On one side, creating a vacuum of need, and on the other, giving out, so that the Spirit can flow through us like a river of living water, or perhaps even better to say, like living sap passing through the branches and bearing much fruit. And this was exactly Paul's experience, by the way, when he says, "Brothers, I do not consider myself to have attained it, but I forget what is behind and reach forward to what is ahead, in order to gain Christ." That is precisely why Jesus is the king of that kingdom in which this very truth is fulfilled. Blessed are the poor in spirit. It's like the entryway into his kingdom. Jesus Christ, the Messiah, presents to us this kingdom that surpasses all other kingdoms, and it begins within us through a needy heart. Glory to the Lord for this kingdom.